What's going on, guys? This is Ryan with RK Outpost. Today I'm coming to you with something I haven't really done on this channel before, and that's a book review. Now, if you follow me on Twitter, you know that, well, you may know, that there's a bunch of people who are doing an Expanded Universe reading club. This is mainly geared towards, people who may have fallen away from the Expanded Universe in recent years and are trying to get back into it, or people who have never experienced anything before and are looking to get started into this great Star Wars universe we have. And we took a poll, a bunch of people voted, and we're starting with the Thron Trilogy, of course, Heir to the Empire being the first book. So I'm reading that, and it made me want to do a review on something that I recently read several weeks ago. I reread it just because I was doing a video on Geeks and Gamers about Darth Bane. And so I wanted to reread especially that first book to put myself in the good mindset to do a lore video on Darth Bane. So Darth Bane, Path to Destruction is what I read. And it really brought me back to how much I love those books. Now, Darth Bane, Path to Destruction came out in 2006, which was kind of a time where we weren't quite sure what was going on in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. Because, we had just had Revenge of the Sith finish up in 2005. We had a bunch of prequel tie-in novels and things like that all leading up to the grand finale of the end. During that time also, we had a huge series, New Jedi Order, finish up. And it was kind of, there were some people that liked it, there's some people that didn't like it. I fall into the group that really liked it. I love New Jedi Order, but some people didn't. It was a really long series, a change for Star Wars, a grittier, less happy ending-ish Star Wars. A lot of characters, met their ends. A lot of characters we cared about. So we weren't quite sure where we were going to go in the Star Wars Expanded Universe. And two things came out in 2006. We had the beginning of Legacy of the Force era, which my absolute favorite series of all time, the 9-book Legacy of the Force books. But then we also had Darth Bane, Path of Destruction come out, written by Drew Karpyshyn. And one of the interesting things is Drew Karpyshyn is also the writer for KOTOR, which was released in 2003. And one of the reasons I think that Darth Bane, we really wanted to see this connection here, because in the prequels we're obviously told all about the rule of two by Yoda, right? Two there is, no more, no less. Yet in this incredibly well-selling game, KOTOR and KOTOR 2, 2003, 2004 is when those were released. It was very clear that there were way more than just two Sith, right? There were entire, the number of Sith, rivaled that of the number of Jedi at a lot of times during the Old Republic era. And of course, if you've read Tales of the Jedi, the comics from the 90s, you kind of see the growth of the Sith Empire, a long time before, about 5,000 years before, Battle of Yavin. So Darth Bane comes out set 1,000 years before the Battle of Yavin, and it's a very unique, interesting story. And I think it's one of the easiest things for me to compare it to, and why people really enjoyed it so much. Well, two reasons that I think, mainly. One, it was a story about the Sith. We learned a lot about the dark side and theories behind how the dark side works. And it was something that we had never, well, at least I had never really delved too much into so many of the dark side theories that were brought about in this book. And then secondly, kind of in a way, like Thanos in Infinity War, you had a villain that was relatable, I suppose. Now, Thanos wasn't the protagonist in Infinity War, but you had a villain that you kind of cared about his motivations, and that's what you have in Darth Bane. You have a villain who is the protagonist of the story. He is evil. You know he's evil. It's very clear. Yet, you're rooting for him. You find yourself, rooting for him and his machinations. When you see them happening, you're hoping that they pull through. So I think that's really cool. Now, a little bit about the book. When it's set up, and originally we meet this character named Daesil, who will go to become Darth Bane. But this guy has had a crap life. He's working for essentially slave wages. He's basically an indentured servant, for lack of a better term, really. He's working slave wages in the mines, mining cortosis, and he's working off a bunch of his father's debt. He can barely afford to like live. And it's hardened him. It's made him into a man. He's a mountain of a man, big muscular dude from mining all day, from using essentially a jackhammer, all day to mine cortosis. It's clear, initially it's very clear that you see he has some precognition, right? That he kind of can see something right before it happens. He doesn't know why. He doesn't know anything about the Force or anything like that. But you can tell, okay, this guy's obviously Force sensitive. And he gets into some trouble on his world, and he ends up, accidentally killing a Republic soldier. And he has to get away. He has no other choice. Really, he has to go on the run, essentially. And at that point, he wanted to be a neutral guy. He didn't care about the Republic. He didn't care about the Empire. F them both, basically, is like how he felt. And so what happens is after he kills a Republic soldier, he's going to be an enemy of the Republic. His only choice is to join with the Sith armies. So he does that, and he, due to his Force-sensitive abilities and due to his just combat skills, he progresses greatly. He garners a lot of attention. He does some like heroic things and finally gets the attention of a Sith Lord. Now the cool thing about this era is when you play KOTOR, when you play the KOTOR games and you go to like the Sith Academy and you realize that the Sith are like so vindictive and so they're always manipulating each other and they're always trying to gain power and scrape their way up. And a lot of times they're killing each other off. But Lord Khan changed all that. He made the Brotherhood of Darkness, where he made all Sith equal. So essentially, that's what he said, right? But he didn't want there to be any infighting because he felt like it was damaging their ranks. So everyone was equal in the Brotherhood of Darkness. And Bane gets to the Academy and progresses. He's really strong in the Force, gets a lot of attention. And one thing he does that's so cool is that he wants knowledge from not just the Masters, but like the old forgotten texts of the ancient Sith Lords. He wants to know everything he can about the dark side. He wants to understand how to unlock more power, more techniques. And he knows that there's something diluted about this Sith Lord. He can feel it. It doesn't feel right to him. But the Masters love him because he's so strong in the Force. They're giving him a lot of attention. He eventually bites off more he can chew and gets defeated. He's not ready for this fight that he takes on and gets defeated, and it sends him into a spiral. He is scared. He was scared of, well, he killed somebody, right? He killed somebody that he wasn't supposed to. He's out of control, and it scared him. The darkness scared him, the fact that it was so uncontrollable, and he had started having trouble unlocking the Force, and just turned into this kind of husk of a man, this huge mountain of a man who was nothing inside. And he meets someone who's manipulating him to kind of do what she wants, but he uses that. He lets her manipulate him. He knows what she's doing, but she can teach him, and she helps him get past that block, and he goes on to just destroy everybody. But as he's doing that, he learns so much about the Force, and he realizes that this Brotherhood of Darkness is a fallacy. It is not the way it was intended. Everybody working together, it makes the Sith weaker. So he went searching for answers. He went searching for answers in the long-forgotten, Valley of the Dark Lords. He goes into tombs and explores and tries to find information. But he is convinced that this is wrong, that he is right and they are wrong. He knows that the dark side is about more than this Brotherhood of Darkness, that they're doing it wrong. So he goes in search of something. And then he finds, I don't want to talk about spoilers, right? I want you guys to read it. But he finds a holocron from a character you'd be very familiar with in the Star Wars Expanded Universe, and it confirms everything he thought. And he gets this theory from the holocron, and he is the one that puts it into motion. The rule of two. Right? Only one person is the master of the dark side, with one apprentice to covet that power. Right? So then, instead of ganging up with each other or anything like that, or holding each other to an equal footing, right? You have one master who is the epitome, the most powerful. And you have one apprentice who has the ability to gain the knowledge and skills to surpass that master. And without any help from anyone else, only them, only they can rise and become more powerful. And when they are powerful enough to defeat their master, they keep going, right? It keeps going. So they take an apprentice who gets more powerful than them. And all along this line, right, the Sith are increasing in power. So that's what Bane put into motion. But what he had to do was get rid of the Brotherhood of Darkness. He knew there was no way he was going to be able to change all these people's minds and just like walk away, right? So he had to destroy them. And another big part of this book, which involves a character I did a lore video on this channel for, Lord Hoth, he has this thing to combat the Army of Darkness. He has the Brotherhood of Darkness, and it's called the Army of Light. And the other part of this book is basically about this battle raging on this one planet. It just happens to have all come to terms on or all come to blows on this planet. It's really important, Rusan. And the Jedi are fighting the Sith there, and it's brutal. It's brutal for the populace, it's brutal for the Sith, it's brutal for the Jedi, everybody's dying. But Bane comes there and just manipulates everyone. And it's not just how strong he is in the dark side, it's his cunning that he uses, the way he's able to manipulate everyone. And like I said, if you want to know spoilers, you can watch my Darth Bane lore video. But he comes up with this conniving plan and essentially is able to let everyone else do the work for him. And when it's all said and done, you know, he's the only Sith left standing, and the Jedi think the Sith are gone from the galaxy. So he can fall back into the darkness and wait, take an apprentice, wait, and grow stronger over the generations. And obviously we know that this Sith rule of two goes all the way up to and essentially ends with Palpatine, with Plagueis and Palpatine, kind of, because it wasn't truly a rule of two after that. But, you know, 1,000 years. This is the line that succeeded in taking down the Republic. And it all starts in this book. Drew Karpyshyn's a great author. I really love the depth that he goes into when he's talking about the Force, when he's talking about lightsaber combat. You learn a lot about like lightsaber combat, I think. They talk a lot about the different forms of lightsaber combat, which you don't hear a ton of in a lot of books. So, yeah, the lore is very deep. If you like the Old Republic era, if you like KOTOR, KOTOR 2, SWOTOR, the MMO, anything like that, I really think that you would love the Darth Bane books. It sets the foundation for what we know happens in, you know, eventually with Order 66. So, but I don't know how much of a book review that was. I was kind of just like talking about my feelings about it. But, you know, I'm not going to put a number or anything on the review. I didn't really plan that out, I guess. But I just want to tell you that I really like this book. And I think you should read it if you're interested in Star Wars, if you're interested in Star Wars Expanded Universe. What do you guys think? Have you read Darth Bane Path to Destruction? Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments below. Are you looking forward to reading it now that you've heard my quasi-review of it? Make sure you subscribe, smash the like button, ring that bell for notifications, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks for watching, everyone. If you want to send me something, that's awesome. Check out my P.O. box in the description below. Also find my links to Twitter and Instagram and follow me there. Can't wait to hear from you guys.